Hey everyone. So as you guys have noticed, I've been doing a bunch of RPA stuff. In the last few videos have been all kind of RPA focused, and that's because it's a cool little feature as part of the Nintex platform. So what I wanted to do today was actually show you how you could use Nintex RPA to interact with some custom built apps. I know there's a lot of companies out there that have stuff that they use online, but there's also have some custom built stuff that they have on-prem. And this is a way to show you how you could potentially use RPA to kind of interact with some of those legacy apps that you guys might have. So with that, I'm going to jump to my screen share and actually show you kind of what I did. All right. So on the left here, you see there's a little app that I built really quickly called Project Controller. So it has a tree on the left here. It's got a bunch of projects, and then it has like a settings node as well. So if you actually see, if I clicked on Project 1, you'll see the title appear there, and then you'll have this is the project description. It's all encoded so nobody can actually read it. And then if I click on 7, 15, etc., you can see it all changes, and the project name changes, and the project description changes. So let's go back to project. Now, what I want to do is actually build some logic into an RPA bot to go through each of those projects and just get the data out of them and maybe do something with it later on. So think of this as more of like a template. So let me go through the actual script here first to actually tell you kind of what this is doing. So very first thing I do here is clear my variables. Now, this is something I generally recommend. As you start building out your bot flows, you'll probably have more and more variables in there. It's really good to clear it out just in case there's something in here that's using a particular value and you want to make sure it's reset at the beginning of every time you run this particular bot flow. Also be careful that because there's some, for example, if I actually go in here, you'll see I've got all variables. You can change that to specific ones as well. So just be careful there because in some instances you do actually create a variable and you set a particular default value. That's going to reset that, right? To reset it to back to 0 or empty for a string, things like that. So just be aware of that. All right, let's get out of there. So I'm going to run this and you can see my two variables here, project description and project name. They're all blank. What I'm doing here with a click is that essentially I used this target, this little pointer, and I dragged it over here to where it says project. So the click is actually going to click there. So that's where it actually starts off. Now I have a loop action that I just have loop forever. Right, and the reason is I don't know how many projects are going to be in here. In this case, I've just put 20 in there, but there could be 5, there could be 50, could be 1,000. So it's going to loop forever. The next thing it's doing is I dragged the target over here, and I'm using a send value action. And what I'm actually doing is sending the value of a down keystroke. Right, and the way you do that is by clicking on this little option on the right here to bring up the expression builder. Select keyboard, and then you'll see the left, right, up and down right here, and I just clicked on that and you can see it add another down button press. Now, one thing I did find though is over here, I think the default is set to overwrite or maybe append, I can't remember what it was. Set that to none because essentially if you have it set to anything else, it's actually going to click first. So what ends up happening is it's going to remember where the mouse was before, so it's always going to click on project and then it's going to go down. And then next time through the loop, it's going to click on project and going to go down. So it's just going to hang around this project one and never move, continuously move down and iterate through all these projects. So set that to none, so it's not going to click anywhere. It's just going to remember the last thing it was at. Then once I do the down, so you'll notice if I click on this, these values get populated. I'm using a get value action. And in this case, what I'm getting is the actual project name, right? So that's actually getting the selected, like what value have I actually selected? And you'll see in the preview here of what I'm actually looking at. And I'm storing that in the project name variable. Now, I do have an if else in this particular bot flow. And the reason why I do that is because all my projects are going to have the same name, as in they all start with project and a space character and then followed by a number or whatever else. So I'm just checking to make sure that the value I got from the selected value here, it does have project space in it. That way it tells it if it gets down here to settings, it's not a project, therefore I'm going to exit out of the loop. That's pretty much all this is doing. So if you have a look here, it's looking at the project name variable. If it does not begin with project and a space, exit out of the loop. Otherwise, what we're going to do is, again, I dragged this pointer to here, and I'm getting the project description, right? And you can see all that, and storing that in the project description variable. And then that's pretty much it. That's the bot flow. So if I drag this up here and click on play, just monitor the variables over here. You'll start seeing them get populated in a moment. You can see there's project 1, there's a description, come back, there's project 2, the new description, right? And you can actually see the stuff on the top right here where it's got the project description compared to what you see on the left in the actual custom built app. Right, so while this is doing that, I'm just going to increase the speed, so we can go through a little bit faster. Right, let's do full speed, and it should do it pretty quickly. Right, so you're not going to see the start. You'll see the things happening on the actual app itself as it's moving the selections across, but you won't necessarily see the variables change because it's going full speed. And then we got this little message saying it has finished. Okay, so this is just a way to interact with a custom built app, because I know that a lot of you are probably going to be building your bot flows to interact with with websites and things like that, or with stuff happening on your screen. This is a really cool way to interact with some of those legacy apps and be able to pull information out and maybe put it into, even migrate that data over to some other system as well. Okay, appreciate the time you took to watch this. If you guys have any questions, definitely reach out to me, and I'm hopefully be creating some more of these little videos in the near future. Thanks again.